Yeah.
January 3. You might be an overlander if.
Here we go. And we're on.
We're on.
Hey,
Welcome to 2020.
Days into it.
Days into
What
it.
are we? 2 days in?
third.
Feels
The third
pretty
today.
normal.
Third.
Feels normal.
Welcome to the show. There's 3 and a 4th dude. We'll talk next time with him
Yes.
about general off-roading and having a good time with our cars.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
And those problems that we have, and the things we've learned.
And
Okay, so let me introduce the voices here. So to my left, the mic's right, is Matthew.
Matthew Jackson. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm a four-wheel drive enthusiast for many years. My car passion is Land Rovers. I've had a 1960 for
1960 what, Beamer?
1960 88-inch Land Rover.
Oh.
Little one, yeah. Since 1996. And also have a 110 from Australia, which is my bloody favorite car, mate. Bloody good.
This is
Bloody
if you hear good Australian accents coming from that side of the room. Then we got Ben Jackson.
Ben Jackson. Ben Jacobus.
He is my partner in life.
Life partners.
Life partners. Not true.
I have a 1965 FJ40. I've owned it since about 1998. And I've had it, from almost stock to what it is today. And I'm sure we'll get into that as things progress.
Suspense, I like that.
Suspense.
The build-up.
Yeah.
Foreshadow.
Can't let it all out in the first episode.
I'm Nathan Stewart. I'm the greenhorn in the crowd.
I wouldn't say that.
I have a 1982 Land Cruiser, mustard yellow, and I wouldn't be here if these guys hadn't helped me get it put together.
Thanks.
Yeah,
You're
thank
you're
you.
the adventurer of the group here.
Yeah, and taken it quite a few places now. I think I'm at 20,000 miles in 2 years since the
Probably got more miles than we do
Yeah,
collectively over
put
our
some miles
years.
on that one. So yeah, that's the 3 of us. We're gonna probably bring in Eric Patterson, who's incredibly good timed at saying stuff.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, and he's a nice guy. He's got a Jeep.
Jeep LJ. Cool vehicle.
Yeah, and it's only cool because he's really cool. He makes that Jeep cool.
Okay. He wears it well.
So yeah, what are we gonna talk about tonight? We don't know.
I believe our topic is overlanding. I don't know how we want to begin or how detailed we want to get here.
Oh, well, let's what's overlanding to Matthew, because that has gotten bled out and watered down in the past 5
It's
years.
a damn shame.
It is.
This past year, I was invited to or applied for a four-wheeler magazine. Had a off-road drive to go to the Overland Expo at Flagstaff.
Mhm.
So I applied for that, and they accepted me, and it was a great time, great planning. It was a lot of fun, but it's a large group, and it was well put together. But the whole overlanding, it's hard to say, like a genre. Maybe that's even a thing for this,
You
but
can find it on iTunes.
it's an iTunes genre.
Overlanding's a topic.
Yeah. No, but it was really neat. But for years, the whole fantasy of owning a Land Rover is you're going on some grand overland adventure. But now it's kind of morphed into, beyond car camping into
Weekend Warriors.
yeah, it's with gear queers, but all the knickknacks to.
You just lost 20% of our
Well,
followers.
I'm sorry. It's all right.
Keep going.
But but yeah, just all people like to collect pieces, and that's fine, and whatever floats your boat. But it's kind of morphed, and as with most interests that really catch on, it gets diluted and loses some of its originality. But that's okay, whatever floats your boat. But like I said, the fantasy of having an antique Land Rover as you're in the Serengeti and all this stuff. But
Right.
I dig it. It's fun. They're
The
both
Camel commercials.
the Camel cigarettes.
That's
But
ground zero for us right
yeah.
now.
Well,
Camel trophy.
yeah, Camel Trophy. When I was a kid, there had the VCR tapes of camel trophies in Borneo and stuff like that. So it was like fed the madness, you know.
Absolutely.
But I just enjoy it now with this 110. It's more comfortable. I got a refrigerator and all the gear queer stuff, but it does great for off-road camping trips. That's pretty much what it's morphed into. It was an ex-military or is an ex-military radio truck that's been converted into camping. And ultimate goal is to do some long trips down to Mexico, like our friend over here has.
Knows me.
Yeah, so you, Nathan. He's done a cool trip recently too.
Yeah, we'll get there. So, Ben, overlanding for you.
Overlanding for me. Well, I have to say I'm probably of the group the least experienced, but excited because small vehicles, as I'm sure you know, Nathan. As far as not towing anything, you don't have a lot of storage, so you got to think about your amenities and people and all that.
He's got a 40 series, so short wheelbase.
Short
No room
wheelbase,
for
yeah.
anything.
So for the listeners out there, I have a 1965 FJ40. I've had it again since about 1998, 99, somewhere around in that era. And it's come from, basically near stock with just a Chevy conversion in it to a sprung over, almost fully locked vehicle. Upgraded all the brakes to disc brakes from drum. Had it a long time. Have a family now since I've originally purchased the vehicle. So that's additional kind of tasks that I've come along and realize that with a growing family and a small vehicle, you got to pack quite correctly for routines as they come along. So depending on the group of people and what's happening, it can be exciting at times.
All right. Okay. Okay. So for me, what is overlanding?
Besides cool hats.
Cool hats, and well, it's definitely not patches. Said it. I had to get it out there right. First episode. The overlanding for me is just
Patches. That's all I can live for.
Shut up, man. It's my turn.
All right.
It's
Give my-
having the ability to go where you want to go with your friends and hang out. And I think it can turn into like end of the world prepping, but the idea of being self-sufficient is pretty tantalizing. So the more your rig is capable of doing whatever you need to do, and when things go wrong, being able to get out of those situations is fun. So for me, overlanding is just prepared off-roading. I think overlanding is usually longer trips, but you can't do that all the time unless you're rich. So overlanding for us is whatever we can do.
Extended weekends.
Extended weekends,
week
yeah.
trip or whatever.
Yeah,
Family and friends,
yeah,
all those that come along are definitely welcome.
yeah. It just keeps getting better, I guess, because the gear keeps getting better. But like, we had just as much fun overlanding when it was a shovel, a 6-pad of Paps, and a car that had 4-wheel drive. And we got just about as far too.
Yeah, we've been on a couple. And nothing to ruin your overland buzz, like a Toyota Prius, showing exactly where you are with your locker,
Yeah, just
big tires. And all
Don't
that
go to
shit.
Mexico if you're super excited about your rig.
You'd be let down.
Yeah, everybody
Oh,
else is doing
that's all
way
I
more
needed?
than you.
All I needed.
Absolutely.
Chris, couple solar panels on
Yeah.
top.
If you think your truck's ready for overlanding, you should try some driveways in Tijuana. Okay, we got through that question. Oh, let's see.
What do you do? What do
Oh,
you do?
what do we do?
What do I do?
Okay, Matt, what do you do for a living?
I
I think I might have called you. I'd like to rig up my vehicle. I'd like to attach an LX motor.
That's it.
I've got a hogshead that I need to adapt to
I
a
speak
SM, blah,
multiple.
blah, blah.
My job is to decipher automotive lingo into English. I'm a sales and tech support at Advanced Adapters, one of the guys. So I do.
I don't understand a word you said. You're
You
supposed to
do.
be translating.
So I guide a person through what they're want to do, like for you
Mhm.
and you. Both of you
Mhm.
have different engines in your Land Cruisers. Like what components are required to do that? Engine mounts, clutch componentry, transmission adapters, and that sort of thing. And we're a manufacturer of those, or not we, but where I work is a manufacturer of them. And we make a few gearboxes, and it's pretty cool. But I do a lot of I call it side work or bench work at home just to keep my interests up, because I was a mechanic before I did this. So I do a lot of differentials for Land Cruisers and transmissions and Land Rovers. I do a lot of keep a lot of my skill set sharp by doing these little side jobs. And plus, I'll take something new that I've never done before. It might take longer, but just to learn it. For example, I did a Corvette differential. I'd never done those before. It took longer, but than like a normal, like a Land Cruiser differential. But
Can I put that in my Land Cruiser?
You could. You can do anything you want, man.
Yeah, so if you don't know Matt, I highly recommend a 2020 Land Cruiser for you.
Yeah.
Or somebody like Matt. So I definitely needed it.
But it was neat. It's neat most of the time, but like with anything, you can get sick of it. But such is life.
Yeah. Okay. Ben.
I'm going to steal the glory here and say Nathan.
Oh,
We'll mix up the order here just a bit.
mixing up the order.
There
Okay.
we go.
So, I'm a shepherd, and a lot of people
Making America graze again.
I make America graze again. So when usually I say I'm a shepherd, somebody will respond back like, "Oh, what do you shepherd?" I say, "I sheep," because that's the only thing you can shepherd, as far as I know. Goats is something totally different. Yeah, and so we graze vineyards. I manage a flock that is exclusive to a vineyard in Paso Robles, and we basically run the flock to improve soil and build organic matter, and it's all about proper management of livestock in a grazing situation. So that's my day job. And then on the side, I hobby with a lot of videography and stuff like that. And before I had a breakup with a male, I had a project with the Clean Cruiser Project. So, yeah. So the
Sometimes you need to move on. Forced or nay.
yeah. Okay, Ben.
So
I'll leave people scratching their head.
I work for a local software company. I've been there 13 years.
Loves it.
Loves it. Absolutely. Greatest place. Obviously, 14 years, you can't go wrong. So
You're hearing our voice because of Ben.
I am the technical guy. I am the geek.
You're not a geek. It's expertise.
I'm an
Nerd.
expert nerd. I'm responsible for, kind of making sure things come together. I'm the guy that does our radio work in our rigs. I'm the guy that tries to keep, at times, everyone level-headed.
What are you talking about?
We all have our moments.
We're all level-headed.
But,
Ben is good calming. I've been like losing my shit, put something together. What the fuck is wrong? And then he just comes back, pats me on the shoulder, and like, do that.
let's try this instead. You've been at that too long. It doesn't work like that. Let's try another angle.
You're a goddamn genius.
And I'd help Ben, but I think Matt was working on something on my vehicle, so I think I'm part of the problem.
Hey, those drive lines that you got, you remember that, right? Hey, there's arrows on here. Make sure those point to one another.
Always that.
Yeah, that happened.
So I'm not always techno. I have some mechanical skills at
You
times.
do. You do. Don't fight drive shafts. They're very healthy.
Oh, I hate drive shafts. I hate pinions too. We'll get into that later, though.
So, well, what's your favorite place to take your rig right now? The hot spot right now. No
geotagging.
no geotagging.
It's a place in California.
Thank you. Good job. That's it. Okay, moving on. Next one, Ben.
This is far enough away and big enough,
Okay.
but I actually like poking around the Mojave Road.
Okay.
It's fun. It's easy. You can go fast when you want to because I'm not like I like traveling, but I don't like to crawl all day long. I like to get moving. The 110's really comfortable. It's a 4-wheel coil.
Feeling the
springs,
mountains kind of sweep by.
and get
Feels good.
bounce around. But like that's neat. But I'd like to do a trip one time where we're because it's you can blow through it in a day. It's really not that far. People make it 3-day sojourn, but you can knock through it in a day. But I'd like to camp and like have like just like a central camp and then explore more.
Yeah.
The last time I went to the Kelso Railroad Station, I've been there like been through the Mojave Road, but never to that station before. It was kind of neat.
Okay.
And I actually ran into some overlanders,
Oh.
real overlanders, and this was on the
They
way.
had patches.
No, they had
real
stickers.
overland. Real
Yeah,
overlanders.
so it was on the way to the Overland Expo and all excited because I'm going to the Overland Expo with a magazine, and ran into this Land Cruiser HJ78, which is a Troopy model, which is a 2-door long hard body with windows on the side and a pop top. They had I think it had
The pop top's built into it.
78, so 78 would be a long wheelbase.
long wheelbase truck. So the top was hinged, so it's a real camper. And then I asked them,
that's
"Hey, you
rad.
guys going to the?" Because I saw they had a German license plate on the car. You going to Overland Expo? And they responded like, "What's that, mall?" Never mind. You guys are actually doing it. After glancing at their sticker and the Namibia sticker on the side and Australia on their side and all. Right on, man.
Yeah.
Super neat.
Yeah.
A really cool truck. It was like your 2002 or 3 or something like that. Really neat truck.
Okay.
But,
So Mojave.
That's a cool place.
right
You're
down
going to take us.
Yeah.
And then we're going to come back here and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
It's easy,
Done?
easy going.
Sounds like a
It's
plan.
fun.
2020.
On the list.
Okay.
2020 just started. We got a lot of days ahead of us.
Yeah, we can do it. We got like 362 days.
Yeah. And it's not far of a drive. It's about in our slow trucks, probably about 5 hours to get to the dirt.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
not bad. Shorter than the 2 days to get to where I went in Baja last.
That's cool. It's neat. And then you can pretend like you're lost. Like in the worst case scenario, if the car blew up,
Yeah.
it would take you a day to walk out.
Yeah.
Either Highway 10 or Set 15. You're not going to die up
You're
there.
not gonna die.
You're
Okay.
not gonna die there.
Some people would. But yeah.
Everybody should.
Healthy genetic selection. That's good. Okay, Ben.
What was the topic
Your spot.
again?
Your spot. Well,
Really?
if right now the
Oh, the hottest spot right now.
Yeah, for you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
what's hot right now for overlanding?
For overlanding? California, obviously, because that's where we're all from.
I feel like everybody's overlanding out of the state. I mean, leaving the state.
We're all going to Idaho here soon. Overlanding. For me, the hottest spot right now for overlanding is anywhere on the Central Coast. Any time of year. Just from, the 8 years I've been here, being within, the coastal range, within the mountains, you can get snow in March. That was, St. Patrick's Day several years ago. There was snow on the Central Coast, mountains. That was awesome.
Last weekend there was still snow on the ridgeline in Big Sur.
I did hear that just recently happened again. I wish I was here to, get out and experience that.
Thanksgiving, there was snow.
Yeah, so it's snowed a lot this year up there.
So I don't think that some people realize that we do have elevations around here that actually see enough cold weather and have enough moisture that there is snowfall on the ground. Granted, it doesn't last, a day or two because it just doesn't collect.
Yeah,
But,
the ground's not cold enough.
You know,
Yeah.
it's something to go and see and experience. Again, because it just doesn't last around.
Mhm.
It's very unique every
Yeah.
time you see it,
Yeah.
depending on how heavy or how light it may be. And the wheeling, because of that, is not typical of what you would normally see on a Central Coast weekend.
Did you hear the elephant?
Stop it.
The family's home above us. We're in the dungeon, so if you hear thudding around. So the snow, and it's nice because we're in California, so we can still appreciate snow. Whereas if you're in Wyoming, you're probably like, why are we still talking about snow? It's because we don't get it that often. When we get it, it's a treat.
Yeah, here we are, January, and
We're in shorts still.
yes,
Yeah.
some of us are still in shorts. I've got
I'm wearing long John's sweater and pants, but whatever.
We've all got long, kind of sweatshirt hoodies on, just to keep warm enough. But again, something to travel to that a lot of people don't realize that it can be on the coast, but a lot, from the valley of our state
Yeah.
head the other way to the Sierras and don't realize that, there's things to see if you really just not hit the pavement and take that dirt road and go for it.
Yeah, and you got Indians, we got granite, we got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Totally changing. And then the Pinnacles and San Bernardino.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cool roads that are you can do with the car pretty much, but it's just nice to have the ability to have four-wheel drive and high ground clearance because there's a lot of washouts sometimes are really dusty that make a deep hole or something. But there's a lot of roads that are still closed after some major landslides and stuff, but it would be great if they decide to open them again.
What if we just went around and just created like gatekeepers on all these great roads and just made it impossible for
Well,
two-wheel drive to get through?
I called one time trying to cross from Arroyo Seco to the Indians, right?
Okay.
And then I called Monterey County. Yeah, it's open. Like,
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Get to the campground. Like, no, it's been closed. We're never going to open it. Like, oh man, total
Yeah.
letdown because you can Google Earth it.
You can see the road.
Yeah. And then, quite frankly, that's how I do most of my poking around. Well, where does this go?
Yeah.
And I'll at my spare time at work, I'll Google Earth all kinds of places I want to.
Yeah.
I ran into one of those situations where I've Googled something on, Google Maps and taken a glance in. Oh, look at this trail and read about, all the glory it's had just to realize that eventually that trail's not available. It's got a gate to it.
Yeah.
You can't go through. It's private property.
Yeah.
But it somehow still shows up as a four-wheel drive trail, which is really unfortunate. I mean, we're starting to see some of that in our area now with the Pismo Dunes.
We just lost another 48 acres camping space.
Yeah.
It's just making it dangerous by reducing the size of that place. It's just making it dangerous for the people that are going there.
We should give them another excuse to shut it down.
Of course. Like, another person got killed because they're riding on top of the tent because there's nowhere else to ride.
Right. Yeah.
The Dunes is my favorite place to be, but the tactics that they're using is pretty crummy in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we
upfront.
heard.
We want to close a place because we don't like sand, even though you build a home right next to like a beach.
Right. Right.
I feel like I might have just brought up a sensitive topic for us all.
You did, but I mean, I know a couple people that are behind us on this one.
At least two.
Yeah, at least two. Yeah, it's being aware and being open to the fact that if what we're doing is damaging stuff, we don't want to do it. And then you look into the facts. I mean, your buddy that works out of the Dunes runs the Hummers.
Yeah,
he gave a really balanced, both side explanation of what was going on at the Dunes, and he wasn't hard redneck rampage screw the snowy plover or anything like that. He was just
left or right.
Yeah, he was just
Center
they
line.
came out and the scientists measured, and there was no evident difference with the vehicles running or not. That dust in that sand is bad at the Pismo Dunes, and it's not good to breathe. It blows on those dunes 365 days a year, because there's wind coming off the Pacific Ocean,
it's
and that's
it's
a wind tunnel. So like,
rarely calm.
yeah,
Rarely calm.
yeah. So it's a problem, and they're not going to stop the dunes from being the dunes. And say that the vehicles are the reason the dunes are the problem is kind of silly.
It's annoying when like I said, now it's a smaller space, but you have a ton of people there, and then it's just there's people on top of people. So as a casual observer, if you were first time going on the beach, like what the fuck is going on here? Because it's like a bee's hive. Motorcycles running here and there, and everyone's excited to be down an off-road spot. But I mean, if you had an extra 10 miles or even 5 miles of beach where it stops right now, you'd spread that out and everyone would be happy. And quite frankly, I would think if you were able to open the other end a little more, get a little more access down the beach, you would have less potential of dust blow up from people riding closer to the homes that were built afterwards.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think anybody would complain about a limit of how many vehicles can be out there per day, and nobody would care if they tripled the price of entrance fee.
Yeah.
People are driving in with $100,000 on a trailer, and they're charging $15 at the door, and it's the only park making money in California.
It's
like
space versus availability, and they keep taking the availability away
One more time.
and reducing the space. So I mean, it's weird because I saw a picture posted today of the area that they took out, and it's significant. Like, right? You basically like lose a bathroom area, and it's cut around like almost half of that. And you have, and then for camping anywhere around that, you have 100 feet of space that you got to keep away from. So, when you take all that, extra that you add to it, given what they've already taken away now, and who knows where this is going to go.
Do we know how much they've taken away? We're not really prepared.
It's around 48 acres right now.
This time, but like since the beginning, like they had
since
like
the beginning.
Geez,
No,
they had like
they've taken out
1,500, right?
miles of coastline of
Yeah.
inaccessibility. I mean,
we're not really prepared to.
I've heard personally, I've heard stories of people basically in the day being able to drive from Vandenberg all the way to Pismo, unobstructed.
Right.
And when you think about it, historically, there have been movies shot out there in areas you can't access anymore, but yet are
Whales buried out there.
several whales buried out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's good amount of there's people that used to live out there that their houses, what remains of them, you can still walk to and see, but they're not drivable, accessible. There's so much more that's there that used to be that you can't get to anymore. It's kind of sad. I mean, we're losing a lot of history not by being able to go to these places and visit them.
Yeah. Well, Pismo Dunes is a hotspot subject. So that's how we kind of feel about it. But we're not exactly experts on the whole Pismo Dune thing either.
I'm not 100% on all the
stats.
but I'm just a lay person. But don't have to be a genius to figure out what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what else are we going to talk about?
You didn't say where you like to.
Yeah. Where's your favorite place, Nathan, that you like to overlanding currently?
Yeah.
In or out of the state? We'll leave that up to you at this point.
Well, if I had a magic carpet that could hold the trailer and my truck, I'd say Guatemala was rad. Like, there's an endless supply of shit you can get into in Guatemala. That's beautiful. The people are cool. The food hasn't totally gone to shit like the rest of Central America does.
Explain.
So Mexico is the pinnacle of amazing North American cuisine, in my opinion.
Okay.
And you cross the border into Guatemala, and it takes like a 30% drop in quality. It just gets bland. Like, it just starts getting like
Loses flavor.
potatoes, pork, salt, and pepper. And then you go
Basics.
into what's after Guatemala. Guatemala, I don't even know. Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras. One of those, I'd have to pay attention. But it just gets worse and worse and worse. You get down to Panama, and it's just all imported goods from the rest of the world because of the Panama Canal.
Gotcha.
But Guatemala was rad for, like, you could drive around volcanoes. You could go into river crossings.
Is it good altitude?
There's a bunch of altitude change. I didn't get to go, but there's some place. Yeah, here we go. So it goes from you got Guatemala, then you got Honduras, which is sketchy, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. The El Salvador was in there somewhere. There it is. El Salvador's between Guatemala and Honduras. Yeah, so Guatemala was really fun on the Central Coast. She's my go-to still Big Sur. I was there last weekend. It was super crowded and still crowded.
Where did you stop?
So we went up the Ridge Road, you know, where we got all upset because of the fire pit, right? When we did that video.
I remember that.
Yeah, so drove all the way, well, I drove down that spine.
Downhill.
Yeah, downhill.
Okay.
And there's people kind of everywhere, but luckily one of my buddies had already gotten there on like Thursday or Friday, and he had got us a camp spot pretty high up. But there was campers probably 150 yards from everybody. Like everybody was probably about 150 yards apart. And you're up there and you don't know they're there. Like really, you just didn't pay for camping. You have an amazing view. Even though it's crowded.
You're supposed to have your adventure pass.
Yeah, I don't have my adventure pass.
You do have your adventure pass. I've got my adventure pass, the annual adventure pass. Maybe.
What's an adventure pass? It
It's
sounds like a nerd thing.
It sounds like you're contributing to the state's fund.
Oh, you spun that meme.
I hate giving the state any money.
Okay.
But it's you can
So
buy an annual
I
pass.
can give money and it helps them shut down the Pismo. No, just kidding.
Well, it grants you access without a ticket.
So are you
It's
not?
on,
Oh,
It's on
it's BLM, right?
any BLM.
Okay.
You need to have this adventure pass, otherwise you can get a ticket.
Okay.
It's hefty ticket, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
For camping up there
The
without
pass
it?
is pretty cheap. I want to say
$35, I think.
Yeah,
I'll say
it's
for
not
annual.
bad. It's for a year. I think they give you a sticker to throw on the window. I've never put it on.
I
Okay.
got a sticker. You punch it. I just put it on my little cubby box. So it's
Yeah, as long as they have some place to look at it.
Okay.
It allows,
That's on all BLM land camping. It's
It's
just,
like
is it
the
for
Pinnacles.
camping or is it for?
just access. So if you have access, like with some places you need to get the gate code. You still get the gate code, but you don't have to pay because you have.
Oh, okay. So it'd be more important for like San Benito, places where you need. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, because they're not regular. I mean, the ranger came up and was checking fires because right now, still even after the rains, Big Sur shut down on any kind of fires up there.
Well, as
Nothing.
most times, it's kind of, as you mentioned, that it's kind of weird because we're in our wettest season,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not allowed. Yet we've been up there in the driest and still seen remnants and
Right,
stuff.
right, yeah. Yeah, if you're going to Big Sur and you're getting anywhere off road and you're starting to fire, we're coming and we're looking for you. So
Don't burn our place down,
don't
please.
burn our place down. Yeah. Big Sur burns
I'll
fast.
tell you a quick story. Last spring, I was camping, and these people hadn't built a fire ring right on the edge of the grass, and I just lost my cool. And
Lost
told
your cool.
them- and then told them to take care of it right now, or I would, because it was like blowing under the grass. I'm like, what the, keep his family show, but
Yeah.
it was quite upset, and
I think we've lost Family Show already.
but I told him, take care of the shit. It was really aggravating, man. Actually, it was summer. It still hadn't dropped. It was summertime.
And it was like early spring, like late spring, like into May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was dusty.
Yeah, we're only green till like March.
Yeah.
Everything
It's
starts
gone.
drying out.
Yeah.
I don't think that changes anywhere in this state.
Yeah, and still, I mean,
Except
if people aren't going to
maybe
be
north.
smart, they could light a pine tree on fire any time of year.
And then
and the Manzanita is just all
uh,
oil.
What stinks is that, like you're saying, the Manzanita, the fire will go underground, pop up.
Right.
And then there's one way out, and then if you get some shithead in front of you
Mm-hmm.
that's panicking, then you're not getting out of there fast.
God forbid it's a Sprinter van or something like that.
Another Prius. That's it. I meant to ask you your trip up recently on the ridge there. A lot of Priuses taking up those spots.
There was no Priuses. The road was rougher, but not half as bad as in the summer when it gets that moon dust, you know? So it's like I drove up the ridgeline with 4 cars in front of me. Like it was crowded. There's a lot of people.
The moon dust can get bad. That's
in the
for
summertime
sure.
it's gnarly.
Yeah, I have, as for many spots that I've been in California, High Sierras, the Valley, coastal trails, beach trails. Some of the mountain ranges, I would have to say, on the coast side have the worst moon dust I've ever experienced. It's really unreal.
It's all sandstone, and when it breaks down, it just gets really light.
Bull dust night.
So we went a little exploring. I'm not going to give any directions or say where we were, but there's the lost town of Big Sur. It's Manchester is the name of it.
We should talk about the man that lives out there.
Oh yeah, you can tell that story next. That's a good story. But yeah, up there in Big Sur, if you do your research, find out it's the Los Burros mining company started in the late 1800s because of a gold rush out there, back before Highway 1. So then you're like, well, how did they get here? And they had to take a 45-mile road from Salinas, from the valley, or from 101 area, King City area, and then another 14 miles up a really gnarly backside, coming up like basically Nacimiento Ferguson before there was a road over the top, and that's where they were mining in the hills up there. And there's a huge section. It's probably 10 miles by 10 miles, which is the Los Burros mining company. And at one time they had 3 saloons, they had a dance hall, they had all this stuff. But since people started fires, it burned down like 3 times between the late 1800s and today. Like the last one I think was in the 20s, a real bad one. Or no, 70s was a real bad one. And so there's literally nothing left. Like even the mine shafts that were open before the fires, like the supports of the mine shaft burned out. That's how hot the fire was. So, but yeah, we went through the space that's there, and it's spooky. There's keep out signs, and there's like, it's got some people that settle.
Show me next time.
I'll show you next time. Everybody else, you have to find it for yourself, just like we all had to. It makes you stronger. It make you live through the invasion.
You don't have to use your dash-mounted GPS.
Well, maybe that should be the next topic.
I almost bought a tablet.
Places you've gone that's not really mapped anywhere or marked anywhere, and let's not give specifics because these are places that we like to think as ourselves or something that we have that no one else has.
Okay.
I don't be greedy, but I just don't want it to be exploited. Like it's just, for example, Nathan's talking about the ridge. There's this one spot that everyone kind of congregates at because Highway 1 was closed for a while because there was a massive landslide in 2 spots. So they're cutting through this back road over the mountain, and then people, just like me, cruising around on the internet and finding places to camp because they're marked.
Yeah.
And this one particular tree is just a piss bush. It's obviously ladies that are using the paper to wipe themselves. Like you can still bring that back.
Yeah.
Instead of leaving it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Sur is covered in toilet paper.
Yeah,
bury it or take it out. Come on, people.
It's really bad. I would like to say, 3 years ago it was not nearly as bad as it is now.
Yeah.
Given the places that we like to go and visit.
People that I want to see the environment, but they don't mind shitting and pissing all over the place.
Yeah.
It's really easy to take care of.
Really so where would you a spot that you've gone that didn't show up on any major map? That you like, that you can't disclose the place. And let's explain again. The reason we don't want to disclose the place is not because we're trying to be
we're not
greedy,
trying to be selfish or greedy here, but we
who you are.
we enjoy these places and we want to make sure we can come back to them
And I enjoy those places because they weren't on a website that told me where to get them.
Yeah.
And so, for your guys' sake, we are not going to tell you any of these spots so that you guys experience the thrill of finding them yourself. Like, that's
Absolutely.
what it's about.
Well, it's a little further afar than local here,
Okay.
but up in the Sierras,
Okay.
High
around
Sierras?
Shaver Lake area.
Okay.
So,
Any GPS coordinates you want to divulge?
not exactly.
Tune that in later.
Yeah. So I was up at an event called Moonlight Madness,
Okay.
and there's some cool rock trails there, and there's some cool old logging roads and stuff. And just wandering around there, you can get deep,
Okay.
deep,
Okay.
and like it brush keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and like, oh wow, this is awesome. Like
Yeah.
no one's been here for a while. And, like
Yeah.
beautiful creeks flowing through it. My daughter at times 13 years old, so I was teaching her to drive my old Land Rover, and she's doing good. Just to keep it in low range and plodding around, and
Yeah.
just stopped for a while and hung out amongst the.
You're going to
Pine
lose
trees.
one of your Land Rovers to your daughter
I
if you
know.
keep
I
letting her
threatened to-
drive it.
threatened to sell it so I could buy another one at 110. So
Last time at the surf and turf, he let her drive his Land Rover, and he started to get a little nervous. She wouldn't come back to camp. She kept looping
It
it.
was funny how those loops kept getting wider
I
and
know.
wider and wider.
And Matt, you try to have a conversation with Matt, and he couldn't focus. His eyes couldn't focus. He was
Kept
stuck on his
staring.
truck.
Where's it go now? It's
Matt,
getting further
Matt,
out.
I'm over here. Matt. Hold on. Let me go get my daughter. I need to bring her back in.
yeah, she's well, she likes the car, so
It's almost like she's Matt's daughter or something.
maybe.
It's crazy.
Yeah. They've been in. Well, that's all she's known.
Yeah.
I've had them in our family forever.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, I had them. My dad was in the British Army, and then we'd take us to it was called Territorial Army, like they call it here, Reserve Army Reserve. So
Okay.
they have it called
Yeah.
TA Territorial
Yeah.
Army. So he would take us down to
The English have an army?
Yeah, they used to have one up until the end of World War II.
Okay.
And now I don't know. I shouldn't say that, but they so we'd go visit the garage or whatever, and there's tanks to crawl around, army trucks, and then of course a Land Rover. So.
Yeah.
And then when I was a kid, my dad found one in Florida, and ever since then I've just been involved with them. So just
So it's in her blood.
sickness, yeah, and then that's all she's known. We've had Land Rovers. I had a couple cruisers.
Yeah.
I'm not brand specific. I had a Jeep, Suzuki Samurai, which I regret selling. That was just a fun little car. It
Yeah.
was neat. But she's been known the Land Rovers forever. So
Yeah.
I've taken her on a lot of like the snow trip that we were talking about earlier over the coastal ridge. She was 7 or 8, maybe.
around there.
7
I've
or
got
8.
pictures somewhere.
Yeah, and she's just hanging out, having a good time. Make sure the car's nice and warm, and we're just
One
throwing
of,
snowballs. It was fun.
one of my boys' first trips with us as well,
Yeah,
if I
that's good.
recall.
Nice.
Super fun.
They were both. I think I got both pictures of them snoozing, leaning up against the window, all fogged up.
Nice.
So she's it's in the blood, like you're saying, for sure.
Yeah.
That's fun. Could be any car anyway. It doesn't matter. But
No,
it
it
just
doesn't
being outside and with pops and doing something fun,
So you're off the map spot.
Off the map spot it's in the Sierras there.
Up there where you can get lost. You said
Yeah,
a
there's.
bunch
I
of
don't
places.
I mean,
Nothing specific, but High Sierras in general.
well, outside of like
Explore wherever you're at.
Bald Mountain area, there's a multitude of fire roads, and then that turn into trails, that turn into former logging roads that run by creeks that are pristine. No one's there, so you can get away from a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's up above Fresno, Clovis area.
For sure.
That's a couple hours drive from where we're at.
That's cool, and she's excited to do it too.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
that's good.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because when I actually bought my Land Cruiser back in the late '90s, Fresno is where I lived, and Bald Mountain was one of the first spots I ever went to.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, some of the earliest digital photos that I have
are of my rig up in Bald Mountain, looking at the lookout tower that used to be, essentially the fire station up there. I don't know if you guys saw that and look over the ridge.
Well,
and
at that
see the
at that
lakes.
event, it's a lot of people, and so the thing is Moonlight Madness. So you get a line of 50 cars, and then that's not my thing.
Yeah, understood. But yeah, I mean, speaking on places to go that aren't on the map, I'd have to kind of concur. For me, as well, it's the High Sierras. Back in high school, and maybe a couple years before that, I was able to spend some time up there, working with a organization that took down trees that would be in hazard of falling on populated areas where high traffic occurred.
Yeah.
And the benefit of that was seeing places that those people that were, kind of instructing and guiding us led us to places that you don't even realize that are there.
Unless you're the guy that's hanging out up there for more than a summer. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And heading out to some of these places, you don't realize that you see old picnic tables sitting about where this was once a populated area that you could get to. And you open up to eventually the end of this, what used to be a road at one point, is a beautiful sunset in the Valley of California in the High Sierras that is just huge. I mean, you look at the magnitude of these granite rocks overscaping a valley that's forged in between, two mountains, is great. And kind of the irony at the same time is realizing, well, there is a really thick layer of smog that kind of sits in there sometimes and raises up and down as the temperature and whatnot happens. But to see something like that regardless is just awesome. To realize that's not something that's on a map that you can just go see. And sit and literally hang your feet over a huge granite rock that, if you happen to be misfortunate, that's a long drop down before you hit the next great piece of granite rock that you're not going to survive. It's too short to deploy a parachute, but yet beautiful enough to really enjoy at the same time.
Nice.
Have you done any Eastern Sierra stuff?
No, I've never done Eastern Sierras, and that's like a really hot thing with overlanding right now. So I feel like I'm way behind.
We're super. Actually, you're ahead because you've actually done like some adventure, long drive. But mine have been localized and like a week away. But homeboy here has done a long trip. But that East Sierra sounds pretty sweet. But
it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that kind of deserty.
And I don't know, but I don't mind
rough
the heat.
country.
You guys into it? Can you handle it?
Well, I'm a valley kid growing up, so
You can
100+ degree
It's not my favorite
temperatures.
thing in the world, but I just did Central America, and that
It's not pleasant, but it's
lived through
doable.
it. Didn't have an AC in the Land Cruiser. I just had a diesel motor
Producing heat.
producing heat.
So Nathan, your favorite place on a map that's not necessarily
It's not on the
marked.
map. Well, I'm going to go with the most recent. We just did a trip down to Central Baja, and I got this book that I'm super excited about, written in 1967, which is not a fun read, but it just goes kilometer by kilometer telling you what every dirt road coming off the main road in Baja is.
Okay.
So it'll be like, kilometer 67 turns off left to Ranch El whatever, and behind it will take you on another road that goes to
El
the
Rancho
spring,
de.
El Rancho de whatever, and so you can just go like mile by mile, kilometer by kilometer, whatever the case may be, and find all these cool. There's like I never knew there was. There's a water spout in Baja, goes off once a week.
Oh, really? Okay.
So you have to be there for a week to see it, and if you show up 10 minutes after it happened, which you don't know, you'd have to wait another week to see it. But a bunch of cool stuff like that. So, anyways, I found this route going to these surf spots we wanted to go to that was definitely the road less traveled. It didn't show up on any of the major local, like the surf guide books
Right.
to any of those spots. And so the road from the pavement to the coast is about 50 miles, and it should take about 2 hours because it's
Okay.
mostly graded pretty well. And it took us 6.
So it's somewhat maintained. I mean,
Yeah.
someone knows about this
Yeah,
at least.
so-
but
So the area basically has several roads that are managed with graders that once twice a year, because there's fishermen working camps out there, so they have to keep transit going. But there's a bunch of roads that kind of like was the road, but then it got washed out in whatever year, and it was easier to just grade a new road than to maintain that one.
gotcha. Yeah, bypasses.
Right. So the road we took us about 6 hours to go 50 miles, and we did at least 2 hours going walking speed.
So,
And it was,
the layman's out there. That's about a mile per hour.
Yeah, it was not very fast, but it was a blast. We had we had 6 guys, and so we had 6 trucks. They were all pretty well equipped, so even if we screwed up, we could have got out of it. And it was fun. It was fun to kind of follow a map from 1967. So basically, it's like you're not rediscovering a place. You're just rediscovering a way to travel through a place that everybody already knows.
So a place that has existed, but
Yeah.
again is not really on the
Yeah.
map.
So when we came into the surf spot where there was already 2 or 3 trucks parked there, we came off the mountain from an angle that nobody'd seen anybody come off the mountain from. Definitely that year. We were definitely the first tracks through it that year, and who knows when the last time
I'm
somebody
totally
went
into
through it.
doing that.
Yeah,
Just
it was
saw
awesome.
Well,
And-
I know someone else that has I think potentially has had that experience, but maybe we'll save that for another conversation.
We're running out of beer, people, so we're gonna have to. And we're almost at an hour. And
If you're still listening,
if
God
you're
bless
still
you.
listening, wow. You should check out Peaky Blinders or
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny.
but you should check out us
Yeah.
at whatever link you're getting this from. Go ahead and follow, subscribe, whatever the case may be. I'm Ben Jacobus. This is our podcast starting out.
Matthew Jackson,
Nathan Stewart. This is You Might Be a Overlander.
you might be an overlander if,
We're not sure if this title is going to stick. We're kind of making it up as we go.
but
It's coming along, and hope you guys enjoyed.
thank you so much.
Have
Have
a
a
good
great
night.
day.